Hello, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon to Europe. As you can see, this is our first session that we're going to do completely in English. I'm very happy to have David here with us, one of the most recognized people when it comes to Operator 4.0 and the next stage of people in manufacturing. David, welcome to Technology Saturdays. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. So great day to start, a Saturday morning, and looking forward to have a great interaction with the audience, to try to provide some light in what is going to happen with us as we move into the future as shop floor operators and supervisors in the production lines.
Sure, exactly. That's what it's all going to be about today. Operator 4.0. So let's jump right into it. If I can ask you for a real quick introduction, introduce yourself, your current job, and what you usually do.
Fantastic. So I'm professor for smart manufacturing at Tec de Monterrey, and I consider myself a academic, right? A mix between a practical guy and an academic guy. I love to spend a lot of time visiting factories, and that's from where I get my inspiration to do my research. And one of the consequences of that, of talking directly with operators, right, and about their fears and their hopes about the new Industry 4.0 technology, right, and becoming the Operator 4.0 vision.
Very good. Very interesting. Thank you very much. Of course, you have been in this specific field now for so many years, many years. And usually in this show, what we do is at the beginning, we look a little bit to the past. In this specific case, I think that the last 20 years is what we should look at. And then we look a little bit at the present, the last 3 years to now, and of course, what happened over the last 6 months in this field specifically. And then we go a little bit into the future, not too far. So the next 3 to 5 years or 2 to 4 years, and try to see what your vision is. Describe your vision, right? What do you feel about the future in terms of operators, and how we can actually enhance their performance, how we can make them feel better, how we can make them more healthy. And that's exactly the points that we want to discuss today. So let's jump right into it. If you look at back the last 20 years that you have been now into this, what has been the main steps that this specific topic has gone through?
So I mean, we need to recognize that us humans, we're makers of all sort, right? We're always building new tools to make our life easier, to make our jobs easier. So what we have seen, particularly in the factories over the years, right? We started what we call the Operator 1.0, right? With manual tools, extraneous work, right? Then we moved to the Operator 2.0, and we started, bringing into the shop floor, the computer numerical control machines and first enterprise information systems, MRP, ERP, CRM, supply chain management, right? Over the last years, what we have seen is the Operator 3.0 with, bringing collaborative robots and collaborative mobile robots, right? The famous AGVs helping us to what we think that the future is going to be. It's actually the idea of work aided, right? Having, technologies helping us to become, stronger, smarter, kind of the quote of the Olympics, right? That we want to be stronger, faster, higher, right? Well, I guess, again, that's what drives us as humans to develop technology, because we want to be better as a society, better as an industry, better as individuals. And of course, this is not new. I mean, the big, breakthroughs that we have seen over the last years when it comes to particularly wearables, wearable computing, smart wearables, which have, make possible, is like if we look some years into the past, the problem that we have, right? I mean, this is a project that was done in Sweden. What we see is the size of the wearables, right? I mean, it's crazy to see the size of the wearables. I mean, that's more than 20 kilos. being aware by an operator, which is something that it's unimaginable to think, how can I wear this for a shift of 8 hours? But things are becoming smaller, right? Lighter. When we see, the size of our smart watches, our smart glasses, our Fitbits, right? All these gadgets that we use for sports. Now we are bringing those wearables to the factory of the future, or the near future, I should say.
Exactly. So when you look at this, for example, the specific equipment, of course, battery technology has gotten better, right? Batteries are now smaller. The lithium-ion battery and the rechargeable cycles, of course, has been one of the big breakthroughs. But the intention on this specific project, if I look back, what was the intention? What data was the plan to be shown to the operator? And what different components of technology have evolved in this specific case?
In this specific case, I mean, at the end, it's always about, better managing information flows
Okay.
in the shop floor, right? We want to provide the right information to the right people at the right time so they can do better their job. In this case, this was for repair. The two, let's say, big use cases where we have seen that wearables creating a huge impact, it's the assembly line and maintenance activities. And basically here, right, I mean, these glasses, right, these old smart glasses were using AR technology, and the information was being requested with a keyboard, and then the information that she required to, for example, please, I need this manual to disassemble this component, right, in the grain that she's working with and the gripper that this grain robot has. That was the main objective that we are seeing here in this picture, right? So, of course, now we do it with the smaller equipment, more efficient equipment, but the aim is still the same, right? We're trying to provide right information to the right people at the right time so they can make better their job.
Very interesting. So I totally get the main. So now let's switch right into the present, right? I totally get the maintenance part of it, right? Because it's a non-routinary activities. Maybe you only touch this specific type of equipment every 6 months. So you can't expect from the people to completely fully understand and have everything on the top of their mind how to fix this specific servo motor or whatever press or whatever you have. So that I get completely, and I think also their specific work, it's not that much time pressure, so it's usually on the weekends, so they can actually focus and get this additional information in, and also we can take a video of what they are doing to have it in our register and make sure that has this been done correctly. If there is a subsequent failure, we can go back and look at what was potentially done wrong. In the assembly line, right, when it's really a day-to-day 8-hour shifts, where is the application that you see today, and which equipment, which technology?
So what we did a couple of years, right? I mean, we came with this idea of looking through the different Industry 4.0 technologies from the perspective of how these technologies could collaborate or enhance our cognitive activities. Cognitive means, the things that we need to think about it, right? Decision making, and the physical activities, right? So the things that we need to lift, and all the exercise that we do when we're working. And we look into 8 main technologies. The first one was exoskeletons, right? And how, for example, by combining the operator plus an exoskeleton, right, we could create the super strength operator. And here, what we're trying to is to increase the endurance of people, right? Sometimes we have really not, easy ergonomic activities to conduct, right? For example, if you go to the assembly line, going under the car, right, to put parts there, right? This is like, if you go to the gym, right, doing, push the bar up many times. Imagine how many times an operator has to do that. So the operator, by using the exoskeleton, now we're seeing this already happening in Ford, BMW, for example, they're testing it. it's really helping to make the production line more productive, right? That's an example. If we go to the idea of augmented reality, uh, we're building digital assistant systems, right? So we are using that additional information that we can provide into your own site, or for example, the assembly or sequence that you're following, and how this can help you to improve quality, to reduce the number of errors, particularly when you're in a production line where you need to assemble different kind of products. We're seeing that consumers want mass customized, personalized products. So that means that you will not be, as an assembly operator, will be, putting together always the same product. So that's continuous changes from producing product A to B to C, or from inside the family of product A to A1, A2, A3, right? Could create the possibility of mistakes. But if you use AR, that, and build a digital assistant system, that helps you with your memory, right? And then you can do better your job.
I totally,
Or
I totally see it for training, actually, right? Because
train. I mean, you can use it for training, and you can use it actually live in the production line. There's like particular AR and VR are highly being used from the perspective of reducing the learning curve, so you can bring faster your operators.
yes, I
Uh,
love
to the shop, to the shop floor. Actually, for example, with virtual reality, we had the chance to, work in a project called Bistra a couple of years ago with some
okay.
European colleagues. And imagine, sometimes you need to buy your production line. You buy a production line, you're building a new production line, and you cannot start training people till physically the production line has been built. But wait a minute, you
Yeah,
already have the blueprints.
I
So
agree.
why not creating with your blueprints that same production line that you're going to have ready in a couple of months, right? I can build it in a virtual reality environment. So I transform that CAD files into 3D models. I put some Go VR goggles to the operators, and they can start training in a virtual environment. So my ramp up time, right, when the real one comes, gets shorter, and that's of course better because I will spend less time training, less time, making mistakes in the real world, which are normally from a learning curve, and
Yeah.
that costs materials and so on. So that's an amazing, for example, application where we see that VR can support fast ramp up of a new production line and a new production itself.
So specifically, the project that you have done, which equipment, without making any advertisement, because there is many
Well,
brands out there.
we have, use a mix of things,
Okay.
from exoskeletons, smart watches, smart, smart glasses. We have using, wristbands, chest bands. We have used, these intelligent speakers, right, that you have in your mobile phone as little intelligent personal assistants. So we are building new interfaces between the human and available technologies to combine the best of both, right? I mean, that's the whole point of using wearable technologies and collaborative technologies, smart ones, because we want to achieve that level of efficiency and productivity that neither pure technology on its own can achieve, neither the humans. We want to be able to combine, right? We want this is exponential thinking about human plus technology.
Very good. So, any specific for the state of the art, right? So we want to say tomorrow somebody wants to. Well, tomorrow is Sunday, but on Monday somebody wants to order a specific equipment for these applications. Any recommendations that you can give on a specific brand or a specific wearable?
I think it would depend on the use case that
Yeah.
you wanted to develop, right? To test. But I guess most of us we are already familiar. The idea of wearables has been out there for a while. We use it commonly when we go to practice sports, right? We use a lot of wearables technologies. What we're seeing now is a lot of people are starting to accept the possibility and exploring the positive uh, things that can happen if we bring these, wearables and these collaborative technologies, such as the collaborative robots or the AGVs or the intelligent personal assistants, to the shop floor, right? And what we're seeing is like, yes, we can digitalize productivity and we can digitalize occupational health and safety. And of course, I mean, the biggest fear sometimes it's, privacy of your own personal data.
Yes.
But if we, apply the right ethics to it, I think there are like amazing, breakthroughs that we can have in terms of productivity and occupational health and safety in the shop floor if we, manage to build this culture where we don't fear technology, but we embrace technology and we make use of it to make, a better workplace and to improve the quality of our work.
Very nice. So sometimes I think, what every operator already has a wearable, right? And
A
the
mobile device or some kind of gadget. Let's call it gadgets.
gadget, right? Somebody has some people have smartwatches for sure. A little bit more advanced people, maybe they have been in the industry for a little bit long, have made a little bit more money, but at least everybody has a smartphone. Is there a chance, in your opinion, that we can leverage what already the smartphone could do to us, right? In terms of maybe voice recording, being in touch with them, using it as a speaker, maybe using the G sensors to take the steps and put them into the company system. What could we do with the cell phones? Because I think then we don't have to roll out anything. Yeah.
We have been working on that, right? I mean, trying to not say brands, right? But you have in your mobile phone, right? So you have in your mobile phone a little voice there, right? That it's called an intelligent personal assistant. Depending on the brand, you have a different one. But we have been working with what we call softbots, right?
Nice.
So software robots, right? So this is what we have been doing, right? So in the lab, we have a small production line connected to manufacturing execution system and an ERP, right? So imagine that you're an SME manager. You're with a customer, right? And the customer tells you, Stefan, I placed my order a couple of days ago and I ordered you 100 parts. Can you provide me now? I'm going to change my order. Can you provide me 20 parts more? Right? So what would be your answer, right? I mean, and you want, the most important thing is the valuable time in front of your customer, right? You don't want to spend it saying, please wait a minute, let me call back, talk to someone in the shop floor so they can look into our ERP to change if we have enough material available, right? Or please give me a minute, let me, log into our web application and check the inventory, right? What about if your little intelligent personal assistant, you could simply say, whatever name you want to call it, right? I mean, this like, dear Stephanie, could you please check, right? This is a query. You're simply querying a database, right? To ask if we have enough material. So like, Stephanie, would you be so kind to look into our inventory, right? And say if we have enough material for 20 parts more, right? It's simple, right? Or you can type it in some kind of a simple text messaging app that you can have if you don't want to use as an interface, and you will get immediately an answer, right? I mean, how difficult is to automate a simple query, right? But it really creates a lot of value added because you will be speaking directly with your customer, right? Rather than spending time querying something. So that's an example.
Yeah, that's a very good example. And there is a good data that says if you can give an answer within a minute, your chances to sell increase by 400%, almost.
Exactly. There you go. So Stephanie, or whatever you want to call, or George, or whatever you want to call your intelligent personal assistant, can really support you to increase your sales, but also protects the productivity in the shop floor, right? Because you will not be distracting someone to go and query a database to look, if there's enough material. So that's my example about this.
So without going too deep into softbots, it really catches my attention. What platform do you use? What software? Is it Python? Where do you program this stuff on?
At this point, we're working with one platform that is called Arisa.
Okay.
In this project, we're working it with some Brazilian colleagues. And we're using this framework, again, it's known as ARISA, and it helps you to easily instantiate and program from a template different cobots, right? So it's not cobots, softbots, from these, from this framework. So it really makes it like really easy to do it.
So Watson would be a softbot as well. It would be more like a chatbot or an AI.
Yeah, it's it has to do, so softbots, let's say it means that the robot is based on software. Then
Okay.
you have two types, right? What we call chatbots and what we call AI bots, right? So the idea of the, which are a little bit more, let's say, more old, are the chatbots, right? And they're more based on simply using some text mining rule. So they read what you have put in your text string, look for certain keywords, and based on those keywords, if they are found, there are certain rules that they just simply tell the chatbot, please reply with this answer, right? So it's more like rule based. With AI bots, it's different because there's more intelligence there, right? So they're trying not just only to look for keywords to pick an answer, but also they're looking to the semantics of your voice, or being your voice a set of words or a text a set of words, right? They try also to understand if the question that you're asking, if it's in a way that sounds that you're not happy,
Yeah.
right? Or you are happy. If you're not happy, that means that perhaps before, as a customer answering to you, um, here's the answer, you should first send a message saying, we are sorry that you're not happy. We will do our best to try to correct our mistake. Here is the answer, right?
Okay.
Chatbots cannot do this because are rule based, but AI bots can do it because they're more like semantic, what we call semantic technologies, uh, emotional computing, which allows us to also get more meaning out of what you are telling us by voice or by text.
Well, I think it's all the part of neurolingual progress processing, right? Or
Right.
what they call as an input for this. I think you're completely right. I think that voice is going to be huge. I think if we think when we started 25 years ago, it was all about keyboards and there were joysticks and mouse and stuff like that. And now it's most of it is touch, right? It's reality. Most of it is touch screens. And the next 5 to 10 years, for sure, voice is going to play a huge role as those voice assistants get better and better. Like I'm always surprised when I talk to Google Home here. So we have 3 languages enabled between German, Spanish, and English. And the language you talk to them, they understand it, and then they speak back in that language. So that really surprises me. Like they even can distinguish between the 3 languages, and whatever you talk to them with, they speak back.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're going to see a lot emerging in the upcoming years, it's new human computer, human machine, human robot interfaces, and a lot of them they're going to be, based on, using, your voice, using text, using images, using biometrics, really going to explore what we can do in our new interactions with machines, right? And how can machines can communicate better with us, and how we can better communicate with them.
Nice. So we are now already in the future, right? So we naturally we progressed into look a little bit ahead in the future, and voice is definitely going to be one of the enhancers, right, or enable us to get to the operator 4.0 or humans 4.0. Let's look at closer to the wearables of the future. So right now, I think a smartwatch, somebody that measures your blood heart rate, is pretty standard. Calculates back on the calories you're using. I think that's nothing new. That's state of the art. What is your vision for the next 2 to 4, 3 to 5 years on wearables? What is going to get commercialized, and what are we going to be able to actually get, and where we can say it's safe to wear it and it actually helps us?
I think first of all we are going to finally see an evolution of the famous, Internet of Things, and I think that the future is actually an Internet of Things, services, and people as machines, robots become smart, as we become smarter thanks to those new interfaces, enterprise wearables, right? Smart enterprise wearables. What are going to allow us is to be more connected, right? More connected with our machines, with our robots, with our other colleagues, right? I think inside of the operator 4.0, we see it an augmented operator, we see a connected operator, which is going to really create huge breakthroughs in productivity, right? I mean, you're going to be able, if you have any problem, to easily, communicate with a colleague and say, do you have this problem in the past? Could you give me a tip? You are going to have your, for example, your smart machines, um, sending you a message saying, I'm going to fail. Please come and have a look into me, right? So I think, enterprise wearables, what are going to allow is to really put humans at the center of the fourth industrial revolution, right? Because we are going to be connected, and we are going to be supervising, and we're going to be collaborating, and we're going to be monitoring all what is happening in the shop floor, and not only when we are inside of the factory, right? Even when we are outside, right? Because internet is everywhere. We carry out our mobile phones all the time, and that would allow us, right, to create, I think, a bright future uh, if we look into this with responsibility. I think this is something that I would like to highlight. I mean, there's like you were asking me a couple of minutes before we started this session about the good book, right? This is like this is an American historian called Melvin Kranzberg, and he's famous because he wrote the six laws of technology, right? And he says, that technology is neither good or bad, nor is neutral. Humans invent and use technology, and then they write history about and on that technology, which
Hmm.
means like, again, as I started my presentation today, we are, makers of all sort. We're always building technology. We are the responsibles of make a good use of technology. Of course, when we create new technology, we change the nature of our work, but
Yeah.
very important, we change the nature. We are not, saying that our aim by developing technology is to take away jobs, right? What we're trying to do is to change the nature of that jobs, to create new types of jobs, which allows us to prosper as a society and to prosper as an industry. So the invitation would be like there's a fantastic world of new capabilities, cognitive, physical, sensorial, that we can use to improve humans, to allow humans to collaborate with technology. But it will be us, us as humans, us as makers, the responsibles of using that technology to really advance us as a society, as humankind. And I think that would be, my reflection, let's say, about how cool technology can be, but also us, the technologies, we have the responsibility of, using it in an ethical way, always looking for the best for our operators, for our humans.
100%, David. That was really a nice summary. Before we get into the last section that you already mentioned, that we call uh, a link, a book, and the like, uh, what would what would be the incentive for the people that probably can't see the whole picture right now, right? So somehow we need to incentivize the people on in a short term. What would be their main incentive to buy into additional wearables, maybe even wearables that are controlled by the corporations that they work for?
I think, for me, I like pretty much this concept of smart manufacturing, this definition that Americans use. In every country, they have their own vision. Germany referred to this new fourth industrial revolution in the factories as Industry 4.0. Americans use smart manufacturing term. But they say that smart manufacturing is the marriage between information, technology, and human ingenuity, right?
Nice.
So that part of the uniqueness of the creativity and the ingenuity and the innovation capacity that humans has is quite unique. So if you remove this from the equation and you just leave in the definition of smart manufacturing, information, and technology, then you lose you become more efficient, definitely, but then you lose your capacity to innovate, right? Because we are the humans, the ones that use technology, as I was saying, right, to make things more efficient, to innovate, right, to innovate our manufacturing processes, our assembly processes. So perhaps, what we need to always keep in mind, as I was mentioned before, right, what is unique in humans, right,
Yeah.
and how can I augment that uniqueness, right? What is unique in machines and how can I augment those machines? That's why we want to make smarter the operators, right? We want to make smart machines and build these new interfaces that by teaming up, we are going to be, more productive that neither of us can be on our own. So I
Individual.
think that's what we need to keep in mind. I think that the future is not fully automated, but is well balanced, right? What we call balanced automation systems with a good ingredient set with a set of good ingredients provided by the uniqueness of the humans, right? And a good set of ingredients provided by the uniqueness of the machines and the robots and the AIs.
Sure. And that's really true. The one of the main incentives for me to buy into it, to wear it, to use it, would be that now I can actually make a bigger impact myself, right? With my
Sure.
because everybody is very creative. And let's be honest, everybody has really good ideas, and the best ideas usually come from the shop floor. So now we can actually capture those ideas and those improvements in a better way. And sometimes people not necessarily articulate those ideas, but you know what? This guy found a way to run that station 5 seconds faster. So now with the
Right.
wearable, we can now actually see how he does it. He doesn't have to fill out any form or even speak to anybody. We just have to watch him and observe him and give him the chance that with this new technology, he brings this new creativity to the plant.
Sure, I think the best way to promote, right, that the adoption, the
Yeah,
implementation, the acceptance of these new smart wearable or even collaborative technologies, such as the case of the collaborative robots and the AGVs and so on. It's like you know tell people what are the possibilities, right? Don't tell them how to use them, right? Because then you kill their this creativity, this ingenuity that we have been talking about, right? Which is a big ingredient of smart manufacturing. Just tell them, right? I mean, here are a set of new tools that you can use to improve your daily work, how you will use it, right? Imagine the future, right? As they say, what is the best way to design? What is the best way to predict the future? Well, design it. So give your employees, give your operators, these new tools, right? Buy a couple of these gadgets, right? Put it in the training center of your company. Allow them to play. I love to always to say this quote, this slogan of kids museum here in Mexico, Museo Papalote del Niño, right?
yeah,
Which in Spanish the slogan it's toca, juega y aprende. So in English would be touch, play, and learn, right? So I think that's a policy that we need to use for really creating human-centered impact in the production line, in the shop floor, right, with our operators in a way that they don't feel that we're imposing things, that we're trying to create the big broader effect, that we're looking at them all the time.
yeah.
Let them pull that technology rather than you as a leader push the technology into the shop floor. Let them play with them, touch the technology, brainstorm, discuss it, right? And they will come back to you with brilliant ideas on how they can use it to improve, again, their productivity, their occupational health, their safety, because of all the amazing things we can do to support, our daily work.
Very, very good. So really, really interesting. The time flies by. We're already 35 minutes into it, so I don't want to make it too long either. For the final section, I usually ask for three things, but today, because of the time, I only ask you for one thing. Where is a good link where the audience and everybody that's super interested to dig a little bit deeper into it? A very good link, a compilation of information that you can share with us regarding that specific topic, Operator 4.0.
So we actually, as an academics, we have a website that compiles all our publications, which is researchgate.com, right? And if you go there, we have a little project there published that we call the Operator 4.0, Socially Sustainable Factories of the Future, right? So if you just use that string to search for our content, you will find it there. And also, like, we tweet a lot. There's a huge community around the world that we started a couple of years publishing and discussing about operator. So in the Twitter, we use the hashtag operator 40, right? Without the point, it's operator 40.
Perfect. Definitely gonna link that below this. And as I mentioned, really appreciate the talk. You're a super expert in this. I really like your vision of it, specifically with always having the ethics and compliance part of it always, and the cybersecurity part of it very clear. That we are talking about data, right? We're talking about very personal data of the people. We need to have the buy-in on that as well, and make sure that this data doesn't get leaked. We could go
risk
on.
Will always exist, Stefan. Risk will always exist. So we need to learn to manage. We should not fear risk. If we fear risk, we lose the opportunity to innovate, right? So we need to learn to manage in a responsible way risk.
Awesome. That's a perfect final note on this talk today about Operator 4.0. I really appreciate it, David. Thank you very much. Have a great Saturday, a great weekend with your family, and see you soon. Thank you very much.
See you soon.